Hi everyone, my name is John. Welcome to this video. Today we're going to talk about how businesses have weathered the COVID-19 situation. As you might know, the lockdowns have started since the last 3 months, and now it has impacted a lot of businesses. In this video, we'll be talking to a special guest, Mr. Klaus Knops from KVP-Solution. He's the founder and co-CEO of this company that was founded in 1999. He has 20 years experience in chemical and construction industry, and I think 30 years and 20 years in consultancy. He held sales leadership role or CEO. So hi, Mr. Knops, how are you today?
Hello, John. How are you doing? I'm here very fine in Colombia right now, caught up by the COVID.
Okay, so let me begin to ask you the first question. What has changed for you, with this whole pandemic situation, professionally, family-wise, and also personally?
Yeah, first of all, the change was very dramatic because I decided to leave Chile, where I was living, and that was made on decision in December. So when it came to the point, I was traveling to Chile just to give a conference with the Chamber of Commerce German Colombia on the 12th of March, and I was supposed to fly to Germany to the exhibition of the windows, the Fensterbau, on 16th, but that was cancelled. I was supposed to go to Brazil to one more exhibition and had a lot of consultancy calls. But all this was cancelled just suddenly, so you didn't have an expectation. And since this time, I'm sitting here in Colombia and working from Colombia. And actually, for me, there was a big change on business. But on the family side, I have, of course, much more time right now for my family, for my friends. I do Zoom dinners. I do Zoom playing. I do Zoom conversation on business, like on pleasure. So the change was dramatic because I have never talked to people so much like I do right now. And we do dancing classes with my wife. So I'm really enjoying. I do much more sports, swimming in the morning, running in the evening. So I have more time and still do my work even more efficient.
Mm-hmm. So I think it is important to first realize what has changed before you think about returning to the ways things were before. Have you ever listed what has changed?
Yes, I did do a lot of listings, a lot of changes. As you heard, I already commented some of them. My changes basically were so positive. So I did do like a balance sheet, like a SWOT for me, what has changed. And the list is very, very promising because the changes were all positive for me, except some limitations that you can't get out once you want, that you cannot travel where you want. But I recommend everyone to do a kind of a list because most people I'm talking to, they have only negative memories about the COVID. And I can tell you, I have only positive ones once you do a proper list for yourself. And everyone will find himself in a different position, different situation. And the list really helps everyone to look at it from a different angle.
Mm-hmm. So how was it changed? Were they changes that just happened because there was no other way? Or did you deliberately change it? Was it an effort on your part to adapt to the changes? Could you differentiate that?
Yes, I can differentiate that. First of all, the change was so dramatic that I didn't have any chance not to change because I could not travel anymore. I could not do whatever I want. I had to adapt, and my adaptation was, thanks to God, I made my list and I adapted what is now the most important point. So what we did personally, I adapted to the new technologies. So I got Zoom. I never did Zoom before. I had just a little bit of Skype and WhatsApp calls. So my adaptation was very, very fast and dramatic. I learned a lot by that time. I learned a lot on different communication. We helped a lot of people in different places with our coaches. We have 5 coaches. So we help them mentally to really stay with the situation, not to flip out. You know, what are the basics to do, how you act on that. And that was very, very interesting time. So I see it very positive.
Mm-hmm. So I know you've stated that for you, the changes were mostly positive, but did you ever encounter also difficulties? And what are those difficulties that have arisen? And is there any comparison like negative, positive, or, SWOT about the changes, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats?
Yeah, of course. The first point is I'm a very pushy person, very active person. And my negative point was that I was just caught up by circumstances which I cannot control. Just to give you one example, I'm here in Colombia and the internet is really lousy. I was starting doing conference calls, and the conference call was ended within the conference call, within the webinar I was giving 3 times, 4 times, and I had to ask the people to be patient, to restart again. Or I had people running around while I was calling in a webinar or doing something. So you are not in your privacy. So these are changes which are occurring, which you cannot control. But it's so important that the lesson you learn is you have to adapt yourself. You have to adapt yourself to the new situation, and you have to do that in a way that you find the positive ways, and you take the environment of you, all your people you're communicating, to ask for the understanding. And once everyone is understanding the situation, because they have the same situation, you shouldn't worry about the situation, you just have to adapt to the situation. And that's the beautiful point as a consultant, having also coaches with me. For example, I have my own coaches, 5 coaches in my company. But first time in my life, I did do also coaching. I just asked another coach to give me a coaching. And the finding, what can you find in yourself, how you can act during situations, are totally different, because my coaches, they know me. So they ask me the questions basically based on our business. Someone who doesn't know you, he will help you in a total different way. And that's what is very important. People are there to help other people. And that's what we do.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so what would you do differently from today's perspective? Can you list and explain how you would do it today?
Yes, first of all, I was so crazy that I liked to travel a lot. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to be always face-to-face with people, which is nice because you have a different atmosphere. I have a saying, what you don't touch, what you don't smell, what you don't get the taste of, you are not really in. But frankly speaking, I'm changing completely my mind, because you get so much of social fun. We do sensible games over Zoom. And my point of learning in this point is you don't need to travel for everything. You don't need to go to the office to perform something. 90% of whatever you do, you can do from home. And it's so much more effective, and it's so much more time saving, and it's so much cheaper. So our offering today to our clients might be 10, 15, 20% cheaper, because we do not have to travel over there. We just do 80, 90% of our interviews, of our interactions by Zoom. So this, I would keep this definitely as one point given. Then I see the humanity. People were thinking about themselves only. People were so self-orientated. Now in this pandemic, I can see people going around helping neighbors to make purchases, to ask them whether they need something, the help in technologies, and it's all free of charge. And if you look into today's multimedia channels, you get everything for free, So you don't pay for webinars. HubSpot got new coronavirus special offers. You can start HubSpot as a CRM and marketing tool, not paying something. We have Lark, which is free of cost. So many things are free of cost. Of course, if you then need some more application, you pay something. But people have so much more possibilities today. Never this has happened in the past. And I would say this shouldn't change.
Okay, talking about the positive impact, what were the positive aspects of the change?
The positive aspect of the change is that people got more patience. That's the most important point. So that's the aspect, and I see that this will drive, for the time being, to question whether you should do something and how you should something. So the digitalization, for example, is one of the largest points. Digitalization didn't happen because people wanted to digitalize, because people just got to do it, because they had no other plans.
Oh, yeah.
And this is a very important point for today's further activities. There are many industries that are not hurt at all. Not at all. When we are talking about construction industry, pharmaceutical, chemical industry, there are no impacts except sometimes even positive impacts.
Yeah.
But even these companies are now in a stream, in a kind of emotion that they realize all the world around is more digitalizing. That means they are getting even more benefits out of the pandemic, and they will do more digitalization. And I see the biggest impact for today is digitalization. So with very, very little money, with very little effort, with very little resources, you can do very magic things and bring a big benefit to people and to organizations. And that's, I think, is the biggest impact the COVID-19 has brought to us. That's the perspective.
I agree. I think that this COVID-19 situation really enabled the business and empowered them to move online and to reach more audiences, our customers that otherwise will be difficult to reach. They will just be limited to their own vicinity. But now with online, you can reach anywhere, anyone in the world. Anyone can buy your product or services, right? So having said that, what were and are still today the negative effects?
The negative effects today are still that people are locked in. And I can understand, for example, here in Colombia, people over 70 years old, they are locked in more than 10 weeks now. So they cannot get out, they cannot even receive their children, grandchildren. So mentally, this is a pressure someone cannot imagine. It's really, really tough. That's a very, very negative impact. On the other side, as negative impact, as you see in the United States, in many countries, many people have been laid off.
Yeah.
So that's an impact. It's not only a financial impact. It's a personal impact. It's creating the question what I'm good for. So what can I do? It's like hopeless. People don't know how they're gonna get the next meal, how they're gonna pay the rent. This is a big, big impact. And there are, of course, some countries like Germany and many others, the government is helping a lot to give a little bit of a release, because there are a lot of money flowing from government side to companies and to personal people. This is a good point, but this is not the norm. If I look as an international consultant, I have a lot of calls of many of my friends and some of my family members. The sister of my wife, she was laid off, and so it's hurting not only the people from the neighborhood, it's hurting everyone. There are many people, they have short-term working. They receive only 70% of the salary today. Sometimes they don't even get the rent for what they have rented to someone else. So they are hurt several times, and they are really in a situation that they don't know how and how long is it going. So the uncertainty, that's a very important impact. And I don't want to talk just about business. I'm talking about people, but because people are part of the business. So if people are not concentrated, if people are in in fear, they are not working properly. They are not working properly because there are too much occupation of what the situation is today. And here we helped a lot with our coachings from personal coaching to help people to stabilize mentality. That's very, very important. So these are very negative impacts. But of course, on the other hand, every negative impact has positive impacts, and people are working more at home. They spend more time with the family. They have less cost because they don't have to travel 1.5 hours to their office. So they don't spend the bus or car or whatever money. So it's always a balance. That's the reason why we always say, do a proper list of the positives and the negatives. This will help you already. And if this doesn't help, talk to someone. Do the list together with someone, or ask a coach to give you a coaching session. So he will run or she will run you through a session which opens again your mind and to see the world in a different way. That's our recommendation. We do really in this stage, and no one knows how it's going to end, where it's going to end. There's so much of speculations. There's so much of fake news. I would really consider this as a part of the problem, that too much information. People see only negative. So I recommend to switch off the telephone, to switch off the radio, to switch off the TV, just watch half an hour the most important news, and the rest of the time use for your recuperation, to recover, to think positive, to put activities in your world. And of course, for companies, it's the best time to look at your digitalization, to look at your restructuring, to look at your leadership, to look at your business model. That's very important today, because this is a chance to make the future, because the past is gone. You're living in the present and you're working for the future. But don't forget about the present, because even the thinking of future, it's just a thought, because everything might come different than you are planning. Make a plan A, plan B, plan C, because you never know what is going to happen. That's the reason life is happening right now. And you have to get yourself in the right shape, in the right position, in the right mindset. As an individual, like as a company, to overcome the present and work for the future. But plan A, B, C, D, E, whatever.
Okay. So that was really nice. And yeah, so now these days, basically, we've read in the news that a lot of companies and businesses have now started to, or planning to restart their businesses in the upcoming weeks. For a possibility to return to normality, what should not change again? Like what should, basically what should not change once we return back to normal, to the new normal?
For me, for companies, it's very important to make a learned lesson. And the first learned lesson for me is that people are really individual and people are intelligent. That's the first point. Everyone is individual and everyone is intelligent. And everyone can adapt to new situations. And the most important new situation which has been given by the COVID was the working from home. And people in companies, leaders, shouldn't be afraid to let the people working from home. That shouldn't change. I believe this is a very big asset that companies can have, because there's a lot of positive points in that. You can reduce office spaces, you can reduce cost, you can reduce time, you can reduce so many points which makes you more profitable, and it gives the employee more happiness on doing the business, more efficiency, more social life with their family. And if you need to go to the office, make an office day or make an office hour. So it's not needed to stick to old history from the Stone Age. So we are talking about the digital age now. And going back to the Stone Age, asking the people to go to the office to have a Skype conference with their partner at their desks. They can do that at home. They don't need to go to the office for that. This is a very important point. The second important point not to do is just leaving out the people, just getting out people. I believe people are the most important part of a company, and you have to re-educate people. You have to do a lot of trainings, and there were a lot of training during this session, and companies should continue to train people on new tasks, on new technologies, because this will be also the future for them. And this is not a big cost point, because everything is available now on the internet.
I think there's a lot of companies these days have realized that, especially those ones traditional, that they never could have imagined that they are able to work remotely from home. But apparently, after talking to a few people, especially my friends, they realized that, they can actually do the work from home. And they expect that once all of this becomes normal again, a lot of those changes, especially those possibilities of working from home, will remain the same. So then basically they will have more balance on their life and work. And yet it's also making their company more productive and also profitable, as you've said. So what should we be learning from both situations?
From both situations, the final learning point is humanity and nature is very important, and nothing is just graved in stone. That's a very important point. So the change is continuously. Everything is going to change much faster than we were used in the past. So nothing will be as continuous as a change. This is a very important learning, and the learning for me as well is people are much more flexible to change and learn than we did expect. Because I have a lot of friends, they did not want to make any change at all, because they were used to eat in the morning always bread with milk. They were always used to get up at 7 o'clock and have a routine. They were always used to get at 8:15 to catch the bus. So it's a tremendous change. They are getting completely out of the routine, and companies will get out of the routine because the customer behavior will completely change. The question will be, who is going to react the most flexible way and the fastest way in future? That's the only point. It's not the continuity. A brand name will change, not by, it has always been the brand X, because brand name will change. Who is adapting the fastest to the next different solution, situation? This is something which will create in the future the new way of doing business. And of course, the life. Even children, from the children's side, they have to adapt to change their life in a different way. They are not only going to play video games, because 10-hour video game will be very boring. So you need to have something which enhance them to be more creative. I believe change will be in all kinds of the society, from individuals, from young people to old people, to companies, small companies, large companies. The change will be the key point, and the adaptability.
Okay, I think a lot of companies have made an effort, and even us individuals also adapted to the situation. But for companies who are struggling, because sometimes for some organizations, they find change quite difficult to implement, right? Is this something that you could help them?
Yes, of course, because of course I'm a licensed change manager, and we do a lot of changes, and we see that companies which have been really successful in this time, they came and said, Klaus, why should I change? Because I have so much success. I would tell them, maybe you should think about what happened if your industry is going to get hurt like the neighbor industry. So just assume that on some reason, it's going to hurt you. So what is going to happen? They say, okay, but why I don't change then? I said, because many companies need a learning curve. Many companies need a decisions period. So now is the time to make the changes, and we can adapt by whatever we learned through all this crisis. We can give you already the insights of this crisis and help you not making the same mistakes, and sometimes even the change costs money. And if you do that in a hurry, it's really costing a lot of money because you don't have the planning, because you have to adjust, readjust, and you do, of course, things in a hurry. And these companies have now the chance to get even more profitable by doing the right steps. And we help on the right steps to lead them through that with the experience of the pandemic right now. And we don't have only the experience of the pandemic. As you know, in Chile, we had the big crisis of the government since the 16th of October. So we are working crisis since 16th of October, not only the COVID experience. And we helped a lot of companies in Chile to overcome this crisis as well. It was like people couldn't go out as well. People were forced to stay at home. So since 16th of October. And there's a lot of learning we have created during that time and helped a lot of companies, even profitable companies, to get more profitable.
So basically, every company should plan for the worst, even though they are booming right now. Because say, for example, with respect to Corona, even months before coronavirus, the airline industries and other industries they were booming, and nobody could have thought that one day you just wake up and everything crashes. So I think that's really important that companies really plan for the worst and have that in place. For our audiences who are interested in getting in touch with you, how could they do that? If they want to get in touch with you, and if they need help on coaching or management consulting, so how can they get in touch with you, Mr. Knops?
It is very easy. They can just go to our webpage, www.kvp-Solution.com, and get our questionnaire or fill out just an appointment, because we have the possibility to book appointments directly, or they can give me a call directly, send an email on klaus.knops at kvp-solution.com. And I'm always available with my team of people in Singapore, in Chile, in Colombia, and in Germany. And of course, we are working worldwide, but we have people in all these countries I have mentioned, and we can even give the local contact directly. People don't need to talk to me, because I have a lot of trust to all my people. They are doing a marvelous job, and I'm just overlooking everything and doing the leading of it. But if someone wants to talk to me personally, I have 24 hours, 7 days availability, because I do my sports, I do my things during the day, and I do not stick to any working time. I do my work whenever it's up to do. And on the other hand, I never forget myself, because I do practice 2.5 hours sports and eat very well. So I'm doing well on that part. My life balance is really, thanks to COVID, now even much better than before, and I can work whenever I need to work.
Thank you so much for the wonderful interview, Mr. Knops. I really enjoyed talking to you, and hopefully next time we can invite you again for another interview. Perhaps we could talk about more specific topics like digitalization in the construction industry, or even coaching, but that's a very broad topic. So thank you so much, and hope to see you again.
Thank you very much, George, for the very beautiful interview, and I give my best regards to everyone who is going to see this video. And we have a lot of more stuff coming out, especially on digitalization, on change management. And not only that, our coaching is really something which should be tested by everyone, because even I test different coaches in different parts of the world, because every coaching I receive for myself, it's like gold. I'm refreshed after the coaching sessions. I have new ideas, and this is really something which doesn't cost any big money, and it helps you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank
Take
you.
care.
Bye-bye.